Welcome to episode 204 of More Than Dice. This week we're going to be talking about some interesting concepts around RPGs because it came up in our pre-ramble discussion, and Gonzo didn't have much to talk about, much brought into it. Um, but we want to do some good things. Look at John, just waiting. I know. I don't know why Streamlabs is just going crazy with everything right now. I got to figure out the
No.
situation
Oh, nothing with that.
on
I
it.
believe that you need to fix the cat ears thing, so put your cat ears back on.
I'm Kathy.
I'm Gonzo. The cat ears, they got to be paid for. They only got paid once, didn't they?
Yeah, I was about to pay it again, but you made it once per stream, so put your damn cat ears back on.
Once per stream.
There we go. Banyan
Thank you,
decided to do
Banyan.
it.
Deep.
We're going to talk about this later, son. Hold on. We can have this officially. All four cat ears as many times as possible. Say aye. Aye.
Negative. See,
Oh,
Kathy
Kathy,
didn't vote. She just
tiebreaker.
laughed.
I don't have cat ears.
Well, you still tiebreaker.
Oh, I. Yeah.
Aha!
John.
You change it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kathy.
So let's go ahead and get our sponsorships out of the way. We
I'm
want to thank
John,
Muse
by
on
the way.
Minis for sponsoring and getting our stuff out there. We appreciate them all that they do.
Also, episode 204.
Yes, 204. Don't forget, if you go to the website, you can use the code More Than Dice. You can get 10% off your order, and that'll help them out and help us out. Don't forget to go to Mini Masterworks, where you can also get 10% off your order, where you can use the code More Than Dice MMW10, and you can get some really cool stuff. He does a lot of good things. And we appreciate everybody that's already done that because we've already received some things saying that people have bought stuff, so even cooler. Before we do anything else, do we have any salutes or tributes or anything that we need to do? I don't
No,
think so.
I actually don't think so.
I don't think so either. I didn't think of that at all.
Knock on wood type object. Hold
Yep.
on. This is actually made of wood.
I feel like I'm forgetting something though. I don't know why. So,
John, what are you drinking tonight?
I
Wait,
have
is
a
it perfectly measured?
Yeah. I was about to say that. You can stop interrupting. Perfectly measured out force blow,
And
which
Kathy?
is orange juice and Kraken, if you're wondering.
Force glove.
Force blow.
It's the patron drink of Painting with Mouth John. Rest in peace.
I'm drinking gin and tonic.
What?
No.
I know. I know you're shocked. I could
Shocked
tell.
and amazed.
I am going strictly for water today. Wasn't feeling very good today, so I figured I would just drink some water and make sure keep that going. So, other than that, guys, we really, really appreciate y'all coming on here and listening, whether you are on here live while we do it or you're listening to us on your streaming device, the audio version, or on Facebook. We really do appreciate it. We wouldn't have done this for 200 plus episodes, if people kept
4
on.
years.
Yeah. it's amazing.
Approximately.
I've been doing this for a while, so I'm with you guys there. If it wasn't fun, we wouldn't keep coming back. I'd have quit a long time ago, like
Correct.
a previous co-host.
So we appreciate it a lot. Guys, make sure that you go out and get your vaccine. Make sure that if you haven't make sure you get your booster if you're ready for that. Keep safe, wear your mask, wash your hands, all that good stuff. We want to see everybody that we can see at HUCCon 2022 and any other conventions that we plan on going to, you're going to.
Every convention is
All the
HuckCon
conventions.
2022.
All of them.
So
And
please be safe.
2023, 2024, etc.
2025.
Yes, all of them.
We're in this for the long haul, people.
Yep,
So
all hugging, all the time. As long as you're okay with it.
yes.
And if not, we'll mentally hug you.
So guys, thank you. Cheers.
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 So we gotta get back to talking about, before we get talking about RPGs, I wanted to talk about these biscuits. They called them biscuit sticks. And I was like, okay, they're,
They call them biscuits. It comes in.
I was thinking, like 1 inch wide or something, and like you do dip them in the gravy, type thing. So like a mozzarella stick.
Sticks, or like breadsticks.
Or something of that nature. No, they come out and they're like 3 inches wide, about 2 inches tall, and I'm like, I look at it, go, this isn't a stick, this is a fucking log.
You know what it is? It's a double wide, and they would only have that in Arkansas.
But it was a good sausage gravy. It was a tad too salty for me, but it was still good.
How can it get salty for you on a podcast with me?
Oh, you're always salty.
I absolutely would eat a double wide biscuit.
Yeah. Biscuit logs. But I had... I kind of laughed because there was supposed to be a side of fruit, and it was like 3 strawberries, 2 little wedges of... It wasn't even... It was like 3 slices of a strawberry, and like...
So like a couple of flavorless grapes.
Yeah. It was like, what the heck is this here? But then it had fried potatoes, and they were just like kind of chunked up, and they were really good. They had a good flavor. And then scrambled eggs were just scrambled eggs. They weren't anything great. And then they had sweet buttermilk pancakes, which were good.
Mm.
And then we had some scones. Their scones were really good. They weren't like dried out hockey pucks, which is really good. What else?
Oh, that's perfect, Mizzy.
Nice quote.
I also want to point out how we're approximately, 10 seconds into the episode, we're already talking about food.
That seems normal to me.
And then what else? We tried. What is it? They were crab cake. What's the eggs that are boiled and whatever?
Deviled egg?
No. They're not boiled. You put them in boiling water. You crack them open, put them in boiling water. Use water
Poached?
is poached. Yes, with hollandaise sauce on it. Yeah, eggs Benedict. It was an eggs Benedict with a crab cake in it. It was interesting. I'm not much for crab cakes, but it was interesting to try.
That's because you don't get good crab cakes down there.
Oh, I'm
True,
100%.
you have to get. That's why V
Oh.
and I are going to make a road trip to Massachusetts. I will let you know, John, because
I'm sorry, I thought you said you wanted good crab cakes.
Ooh.
I know Maryland is the
Just
crab
saying.
is like their
you got-
their thing.
It's a national animal. I mean, or whatever.
Yeah,
It's probably not. It probably
But-
is actually. What's the
But they
state?
do have good crab cakes in New England. I've been there. I know this. I've also been in Maryland and had their crab cakes, and they're also good.
But they had, we tried the crab cake Benedict, and then I think next time we go, they have a filet Benedict that I want to try. And it sounded really good. So I was like, I can do that.
It's true. It's not blue crab, but I'll tell you, Banyan's like, not possible. It's not blue crab. So at the Maryland Renaissance Festival where I used to work, there was a booth owner who would have crab boil every year. And everybody who lived on site got to, do this after hours during the week. This would happen. And we had just one night where they would play music loud, and we would all be, cracking crabs like barbarians and sucking the deliciousness out of them. And it was wonderful.
See, I'm Legionnaires. I'm originally from Louisiana, and when people tell me, "Oh, you got to try this place. It's got great Cajun food," I'm like, "Yeah, nah." And I go there, and I'm like, "Nah." So, other than that, I'm gonna go switch to the paint cam because I want to get started on this and get everything going. And I also wanted to have some questions for you, people that use wet palettes, but I'm not gonna ask it until actually I open the wet palette, because something happened to my wet palette. over the week. So give me a second.
We wait with bated breath.
Something happened to it?
Yeah.
That sounds very mysterious.
Yes.
Almost ominous.
It actually was kind of ominous.
Something happened.
Let me see if
I think you're right,
Wet
Legion.
palette.
I bet he needs pennies too.
Look, I don't put pennies in my wet palettes, and they're fine. I don't understand what this phenomenon is.
I'm gonna bet it's probably slightly differently humid where he is than where you are.
Well, I actually had it dry out, but the whole thing is still wet. So I think probably need to add some more water.
Yeah, not enough water then.
So just something came up, and I opened it up, and I was like, it's like not wet. I was kind
Also,
of
the good thing about the pennies, also in addition to their properties of keeping it from molding, if that is a problem you have, it is actually also good at keeping it weighed down in the corners.
Yeah, I probably need to.
Huh.
But
Don't
sometimes if
have
it
that
curls,
problem either.
no, you've also got your custom Kathy made one.
Well,
Different
mean-
specifications.
and I did get this new crazy chamois cloth that you have to keep it moist. I mean, even the part you're not using, like you have to, if you're not using it, it has to remain moist, which is weird, but yeah, I see that. I see that look on your face, everyone.
No, I'm actually joking about what Captain Mizzy said.
So, yes, well, she's right. She's right. Not Miniac moist. Oh no, I couldn't. That's a little crazy for me. No, you have to. So I'm storing all the chamois cloth that I'm not using in an airtight container so that it stays moist. And then, but I wasn't sure if I would like this new different chamois cloth because the other chamois cloth I got, I thought this was going to be the same thing because it's like the blue chamois made in Germany because my other one actually has made in Germany stamped on the back of it. So I was like, okay, maybe it's the same thing, but it's a totally different material, it seems like.
Interesting.
And so I cut it to fit my palette and I stuck it in there and I'm like, I don't know how this is going to go with this paper and who knows. It was kind of like a ShamWow. It's not like it's not a real chamois. It's the synthetic fiber. And both of them are. It's not like it's leather, like what actual chamois are made out of. It's CHAMOI. No.
Chamois.
Yeah.
Chamois.
Chamois.
Chamois. It's the French version.
Yeah. But anyways,
Yeah, you probably just need it a little more wet, Gonzo.
So the paper is dry or the paint is dry? Which?
The paint is definitely dry. Hold on, I'm trying to fix the.
It will tell you one thing. In my wet palette, my paint does not always stay wet. It depends on which paint I'm using. It does depend on how wet the sponge is, too. And it depends on, of course, how long it's been sitting in there. So I could have paint on my palette on Friday, and if I don't touch it again until Tuesday, it might all be dry. There might be some of it is still moist. Now with this new sponge, it seems like things are staying moist for longer, which is interesting. Chamois is an art term. I don't know, but it's also a cloth. So what's the art term? I know what the cloth is, which is actually, what is it? Calf skin? Like you use for, your automobile. Anyways, it absolutely is French. It's absolutely a French word. It is a cloth, but that's not an art term.
It's also an agile goat antelope with short hooked horns found in mountainous areas of Europe from Spain to the Caucasus.
So it's goat skin.
Yes, soft pliable leather now made from sheepskin or lambskin, but I'm pretty sure it was probably originally made from these goat antelopes.
Yeah.
Gantelopes. Goatalopes? I like goatalopes better.
Go to
Go
looks.
with goatalopes.
I don't feel like you need to share the video of ShamWow.
Oh, Team Fortress 2 ShamWow. You can send it to us privately. That'd be fine. So there you go. Yeah. Honestly, using a wet palette takes some time to get used to. Because, different environments still make things react differently. It's not like it's perfectly airtight.
It's
Goatalopes, new
very
cereal.
true.
Oh,
And
Oh,
it's
good.
amazing. Every single person I talk to about wet palettes sets theirs up differently.
yep.
Every single person. Legionnaires mentioned the Miniac way of doing it, which is waterlogged, which works for him, which is fantastic. It doesn't work for me because I've tried it that way. And I've tried it a bunch of different ways that I've seen other people do it without success. And, everybody's got their way, and it's geared towards how they paint. And the only way that you can figure out what's right for you is by setting up the palette and realizing this isn't working for me and making adjustments.
Yep.
That's the only way to do it. You can't just go and ask somebody else what they do and think that everything will be magically golden
Yeah,
when
when I
you set
started
it up
using
that way.
my now totally dry one here, it took me weeks to get it set up correctly. I'm gonna have to. Ooh. Actually, this one's old, not working. I'll use my new one. I haven't set it up yet, just because I need to rearrange my desk again to do that, and I've been lazy. Unfortunately, Xander, we're gonna have to wait till the media section to talk about that. Can't talk about that early. So
What are we talking
can't-
about?
he wants to talk about the Book of Boba Fett, but we gotta wait till the
Yeah,
proper
and
section.
Still need to watch that. Which I suppose I could have done instead of watching French murder mysteries this week. Okay, I will commit to watching episodes of Book of Boba Fett over this next week so that we can talk about it next Sunday.
There you go. So no spoilers this week, but we'll talk about it.
We will talk all about it next Sunday.
Yes, we'll do our spoiler-free review. Well, maybe tiny spoiler, but nothing really spoiled.
Yeah. I don't mind. I really don't have that big of a problem with spoilers. Legionnaire says, I think I heard was a new... Yes. Well, new is quote-unquote new.
Is that the...
It's the Agatha Christie one, Death on the Nile.
Death on the Nile, yeah.
Yeah.
With
Which I've seen in various versions a number of times.
They do have a standout cast for this one, though.
Yeah. It's a classic. And I absolutely would see another version of it. I'm
It's
all
not even-
for that.
It's not even necessarily new because they've been holding it for a while.
Gal
Because-
Gadot is in it? Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they held it because one of the actors had some, terrible stuff come to light, and plus the COVID, so they
my
finally said, fuck it, we gotta release it.
Drama there.
Drama!
And not the
Oh,
theatrical kind.
Always the drama llama coming to visit. So, role-playing games. So we're going to talk about role-playing games?
Well, specifically role playing games with a long standing history or based
Built
off
into
of
a
a product.
world of that's in literature.
Yeah.
Well, I guess literature and media,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because
yeah.
that's the popular thing. I mean,
Yeah.
you got the Firefly role-playing game, you get, honestly, Margaret Weiss production, I think they used to put out, licensed role-playing games for whatever. And some of them lend themselves more to role playing than others, I would say. Something like Firefly would lend itself much more to a standard role playing game than something like The Expanse. Nope, cut out in the middle, of course.
What cut out?
It sounded like my thing cut out. I gotta.
No, you're fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I agree
so, yeah.
because the Expanse is one, it's not as fleshed out, and two, it is a very specific story.
Did you say it wasn't as fleshed out as Firefly? I would argue it's more fleshed out.
I'm saying it's the story of it's not been around as long.
Okay, sure.
I mean, Firefly, the story has been around, but there were only 12 episodes of
Plus, I mean,
Firefly plus Serenity, but
it was basically their story. Like, sure, there's a bigger thing going on when you get
Yeah.
to Serenity, but it's still a relatively small-scale story
yeah,
in the
it
galactic
wasn't
scheme
a
of things.
vast epic and these people's effect on,
Yeah.
civilization as we know it.
Yeah, and even after Serenity, sure, they affected things at a big level, but that would be background noise to what you're doing. It still wouldn't have too much of an effect all over the place. Might just mean the Alliance distrusted a little less, other things are going on. It would not be far-reaching. It's not like, The Expanse, where, aside from standard stuff you can do in any sci-fi setting, all the big stuff is happening around all the main characters for the most part.
Yeah.
That's not to say you couldn't. And as I
I mean,
told Gonzo,
you could go after what they're doing, not during
Or-
what they're doing.
or remember, I'm still a couple seasons behind, but there's other worlds for them to explore rather than the one they showed in season 4 or 5, whatever it was.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff can happen concurrently. So there is things to do if you like the world. And that's sort of the idea is if you're running a licensed or even just a game you want to set in a world, a Star Wars or whatever, you can do it, but you have to be very careful. I mentioned that it's the hardest thing, and it really is. And the more grandiose what the movie characters or media characters did, the harder it is for you to play in it.
I kind of feel like
It's harder for the player. Some
welcome
players to separate.
Daniel Baranov.
From Moscow,
Greetings from Moscow. John
Welcome.
recommended this.
I recommend.
You're taking recommendations from John.
I'm right here. I can hear you.
I'm sorry.
Welcome.
Oh, I have good recommendations. What are you guys talking about? We'll talk about that in the media section too, Kathy.
Yes, we will.
But yes, for role playing, you literally, it's harder. The more grandiose what they've done, the harder it is. You get the example I always shut your hole, Banian. The example I always give is Dragonlance is the hardest because most of what important happens to the companions. It'd be like playing Lord of the Rings. If you're playing during the War of the Ring, most of the important stuff happens around the main characters, the Fellowship, whether they're together or not. So it leaves you in a pickle because you have to weave your story between their story. Now that's fine for one-shots, but I know a lot of us like to run longer running campaigns than that. I don't think any of us are particularly one-shot type of people.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, one-shot, I mean just one-off, like run it till you're done with the story, go and do something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
that makes it
feel-
difficult.
I feel like the best way to approach it is to set your stuff after all the epic characters have done all their stuff and whatever it is has been resolved. Then you could possibly have one of them make an appearance as their older self in the future, running into them in some kind of a situation.
Yep. That is definitely the best idea. Not always easy, because nowadays with them wanting to, let's be generous, continue most franchises as long as they can, it gets harder and harder as they tell more and more stuff in the future.
Well, Weird Al predicted it really well with that with the Yoda song.
Yes.
Just saying.
But so that is definitely an option. The other option is, and I like to, keeping with Dragonlance as the example, since this is my example, there's a book I like in the Heroes series, the second one. It's called Storm Blade. I get it right because Stormbringer is something else entirely. And it's a one shot basically in the middle of what's happening to the companions that actually leads into something in the book. So it's like the perfect slide in, but it is sort of like a one shot. It'd be a short term campaign. So you can do something like that, and then you might be able to take that off and spit it off into more stuff, but you're just sort of seeing what you can fit in still. It puts a lot of pressure on the GM. And if they're okay with it, they're okay with it, but it is fraught with danger.
Well, I
You
mean,
thought it was
it's also
a Comstar bot. I thought it was a Comstar bot. I'm very much not Comstar.
it's also kind of hard, I know, for some players to disassociate with what's going
Yes.
on because they're like, "Oh, but what happened? Didn't they do this?" And I'm like,
Yep.
"Oh, yep, they
But
did.
that comes into your session zero talk,
Yep."
where you let them know what's going on. And actually, since Daniel seems like he's a BattleTech guy, that's another one where it's interesting to roleplay in. The world's actually rife with roleplaying because there's so many things going on while the myriad of heroes are doing their thing. It's actually an easier setting to fit people in. Because sure, let's say Clan Invasion is the big one that happened in my memory. I don't haven't have the later knowledge as much as this earlier knowledge. But there were a million battles being fought on a million worlds. Exaggeration, of course, but tons of battles and tons of worlds. So there's plenty of opportunity where what the characters in the books do is super important, but like Firefly, it's still not world saving. It does affect the whole scheme of everything, but it's so far above the scale that your players would be operating at, it doesn't actually negatively impact, I don't think. Where I feel like a lot of the fantasy worlds feel so much tighter, or some of their plots are so grandiose that you're like, well, I mean, sure, they're doing stuff like, sure, you're fighting off, Urukai and orcs and shit, and you're whatever you're doing. That may be slightly important, but does it really compare to Frodo dropping the fucking ring in Mount Doom? Well, dropping Smeagol in technically, but anyways, it
Spoiler.
doesn't. For fuck's sake. Really? Spoiler. Wow. Anyways, so like I said, it just brings you a lot of difficulty in running games like that. But sometimes it's just the world you want. Like you said, you can run a post-War of the Ring. There's a lot of stuff still going on. I mean, heck, the whole Scourging of the Shire technically happens after the War of the Ring. And that is, like, I know Tolkien wrote it, but that smacks of a role-playing scenario like ever heard of one. The heroes return to town and shit's fucked up. Time for their adventure asses to get in gear and take care of that shit.
I think
It's
it would
just-
be fun, and I just had this idea, and maybe this is what I should run. This idea of a group that is, where all the PCs are a bunch of grand adventurers who are like 20 years after their last adventure, and they're all fat and, lazy property owning. I don't do this stuff anymore. I delegate to other people. I just have my castle and, and drink wine all day. And now they're confronted with like something happens where they have to, get out and defend their village or something.
So you're saying we're getting the band back together?
Yeah. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool, because if you look at, we'll cross the media a little bit to talk about it, but something like Alan Quartermain from, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they don't have to be like that. Some of them could be happy to get back, get the band back together.
Yeah.
Obviously, the elves and
I mean,
dwarves
each
are not as
different
old, and
character
they're like,
would
I'm fine.
each,
the humans
each
are
different
like-
character would have a different outlook on what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great idea. You get some solid role players, that could be super duper fun. Uh, Breastplate stretcher, yes. So yeah, you got to be careful with that. But there's a lot of, and we ran into this early on playing. One of the first games I played a lot of was actually not D&D. Um, was actually Robotech, and then the Marvel Superheroes game. So, we might say I've had a lot of experience with trying to fit what your characters do in an already existing storyline. And that's another one that's tough. Because Robotech is a pretty grandiose story, and the heroes are pretty much the heroes of the whole thing. That's not to say there isn't some room for games, but you just have to be careful, pick and choose the setting, or just fit it in there. It's just a lot of work, so I don't generally suggest it. But there's also those the other end of the licensed products that are just giving you the world. We were talking about Dune beforehand. Dune, you wouldn't try and fit into the story. The story spans so much time, your characters are dead and fucking buried and forgotten about by the time everything comes to fruition, basically. So you're just sort of grabbing it for the setting because you like the setting and you can tell some cool stories in this setting. It's difficult in that case because the players won't think they can necessarily affect the setting. Because at the end of the day, we all want to affect the setting. We want to be heroes. That is why,
Maybe.
well, most people do. That's why I always try and make, if I play in a world that my players have already played in, I like to have callbacks when I can. So they, yeah, what your characters did in that, adventure, 10 years ago matters. Here's the callback.
There was something like that in the group that I had joined, the people I was playing with on Monday nights, where they had been playing, some of them in this group, since college, which means that they had been playing for like 30 years.
Yeah.
Because some of them were there, like the guy who sat next to me was my dad's age. Well, is. So, it's just spanning this whole age range. And what? You just got distracted. Daniel said a song in the background.
Remember that the chat's probably a little bit behind because of delay. So they're talking about Robotech, which I was talking about earlier.
Oh, okay. I don't know Robotech.
You would not like Min May.
Anyways, so in this world that this has been his homebrew world for 30 years that he's been running, I find my character finds a sword. And in the end, it turns out, like after I managed to somehow kill this demigod, it ends up that this is a sword that has appeared 3 other times over the course of 30 years in this world. Other people are like, oh my god, it's that sword.
Yeah, I mean, those little touches like matter to them. When we did the Adventures of Sewer Bear, one of the NPCs that were introduced early was a dog. Dog had shown up in a previous campaign, so they knew what dog was about. Just add some connective tissue for the people who have been around for a while. Makes them, gives them some extra information.
Yes.
Spoiler: my new campaign may have a little bit of that since it's running in my homebrew world. We shall see how much of it shows up. Assuming the gnomes live long enough to find out.
I have to give that a listen.
So, but yeah, so it's difficult that some of those worlds where it's okay if you just want the world. Sometimes just take the world and file the serial numbers off. Like if you like Dragonlance's world or you like Dune's world, just take the source book, use the map, and tell them, I'm using this because this is good material. We're going to see where you go with it. Things may not go like in the books. Don't just expect it to go like the books.
Change the names to protect the innocent.
Yep, file the serial numbers off.
The guilty.
I like to joke that my players have played in my game world multiple times, and there are no dragons in my game world. They are all gone. But they have fought the stat block for dragons many a time. Just file them serial numbers off. They'll even know.
My brother used to do stuff like that. He, even as a teenager when he was running D&D, he had friends. All the people who played with him would go out and buy the module, right? So they all knew They would read it. They all knew where the treasure was. They knew where to go in the map. They knew what the monsters were supposed to be. So he decided, well, I'm just gonna, like you say, I'm gonna file the serial numbers off. I'm just gonna make this shit up. I'm making my own monsters. I'll use the stat block. I'll call it something else. And I would draw pictures of some of his monsters for him so he could be like, here it is. And that was the beginning of his homebrew stuff.
Yeah. So that's a good idea for that. I mean, honestly, early on, we would take whatever stuff from whatever and add it together, and that's a good idea. Like, if you like parts of a world, grab those parts, put them in your own world, or put them in the world you're playing in. Like, whatever world it is. I've actually started listening to a bunch of various YouTube things with tips on world building, since that's what I'm doing right now. And there's a lot of good stuff out there. And I suggest you find some if you're building your own world. But my biggest tip is steal anything you can. It's not like you're publishing it. And honestly, if you see how much stuff's been stolen from other people in the history of publications, you'll realize it'd probably be okay. As long as you file the serial numbers off, ain't no one gonna know. But just grab it. You like Dune stuff? Take your Dune stuff, put it in your world. If you like your Forgotten Realms stuff, steal stuff from Forgotten Realms, put it in your world. Literally, you want to just make a list of what's in your world. Like, if there's material you like I like these type of things. I like the, what are they called? Backgrounds and shit that are in the Forgotten Realms book. I have tons of Forgotten Realms like campaign guides, and I used to use that stuff in every campaign. All good. Just take it. You need D&D gods. You don't think your own gods. Fucking just steal them out of the fucking DM's book, the fucking player's handbook. Who cares?
I had friends who stole tons of stuff out of the Amber books by Roger Zelazny.
I mean, hell, it's not like D&D stole stuff out of other books. Deities and demigods, what? But yeah, I mean, it's feel free to follow. That's the best way to use some of that source material. Is hard. Now, other ones, like we said, Firefly, perfect one for role playing in because it's going to work fine. Because again, the heroes didn't do the most. I mean, they did important things, but it's not so much that it's going to have the most far-reaching effects.
Important things. You know what? It was more like Shadowrunning.
Yes.
What they were doing.
Yes. Shadowrunning is a great example of it because, like, you can do things, but everyone's not going to hear about it necessarily because they're going to cover it up. You're not going to. It's not like your small but plucky band of Shadowrunners is going to take down the fucking Renraku or some such shit. They're not going to. You're going to be an annoyance to them, and then they're going to be like, "Fuck it, it's not worth our time anymore. Just cover it up and go." That's how that works.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes it easier, Sure, the Alliance suffered a blow, but it's not like they're going to, Firefly reference, it's not like they're going to fold. It'll be inconvenience. People will get fired. People might go to jail or get killed, and then that'll be it. You won't hear about it again. Or you'll hear about other stuff, but, it'll be in the, remember those guys, Reavers come from here. We know that now. There'll be stuff there, but, it makes it an easier one to role play in. Most of the anime ones are interesting like that, Not Brushhead Dave and I talk about, since I watched recently, the Bubblegum Crisis role-playing game came out in the 90s, and he played a lot of that. And you can, because it's not like, you're going to take down Genom by yourselves. No, there's plenty of room for you to fight them and do whatever you're going to do in that world without having to affect the whole world. They're not even expecting to affect the whole world. The last episode's got a good little take on that. So I sent them to Kathy. Kathy can see if she likes it or not. But a little take about, why they fight what they do. It's interesting. You can have that, and some have that. A lot of the anime ones, like, for a while there in the 90s, early 2000s, it was like they would just gobble up every license they can, and out comes a role-playing game for it, usually with the same system as the one before it.
Yes.
I mean, just game enough that I was working at Alliance Games Distribution. I get them a discount. I'm like, no, I'm okay. I don't need more. The Sailor Moon game, and then all these other anime role playing games. You're like, enough. But if you like the world, get it, steal the stuff, use it in your campaign, play the world straight up. Who cares? There's for some reason a stigma to taking a world and just you playing the characters or playing your characters as the characters. You could literally if you like Sailor Moon, get the Sailor Moon episode guide, get your 5 friends, make your 5 Sailor Scouts, and just do the same basic plot line as that, just how you would do it. That sounds like that could be a ton of fun.
That could be.
Do what you want.
Or you do like my Monday night DM did too, which is I'm totally going to have the planet Mongo appear above the world that the D&D world. It turned into Flash Gordon.
That's fucking awesome.
And it was amazing. I had so much fun with that. I mean, there was no actual Flash Gordon, obviously, but all the bad guy characters were there. I mean, the Emperor, who was our arch nemesis, that was Ming. That's who we were fighting against. They had all the little jet flyer things. The guys in the silver, outfits, and everything was very much from the movie.
Did your barbarian play football to beat up guards?
Thank you, Daniel.
She was a fighter. She was not a barbarian.
Well, did the barbarian of the party or the fighter?
My character was the tank. My character was the Flash. Gordon.
You did not play football and beat up a bunch of guards?
She did not play football. She beat up lots of people, though.
Shame. Just say it's a shame.
Can I say? We were not on Earth.
Fair. But that's great. I mean, that's actually another good idea for role-playing. When I did Mediocre Trouble in the Big Easy, as you can tell by the title, I just stole from every single, whatever movies I could. Literally, I would watch a movie, get the basic plot, and I'd start running a game for it. You can do that. That's a great way to do these things. On that thing, steal adventures from other games and fucking file the serial numbers off. If you got your hands on the old Dragonlance adventure things, run your characters through them. Just don't do it in Dragonlance. Do it in whatever world you want. It'd be fucking awesome. But it's all in the meta thing of just borrowing whatever you can from whatever.
70s outfits. Wilma Deering. Tiger Man.
Tiger Man, indeed. Those are two that I'm surprised don't have modern role-playing games.
Which one?
Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers. I mean, that's just
classic. That's
yeah, exactly.
Classic. You could absolutely spin that into a modern age.
That's
or
not to say
a modern age future, I guess.
That's not to say I couldn't make something up. Give me, I don't know, 24 hours. That's the other thing. If you like the material, but you don't like the game system, steal the material. This is why I always say you should run a game you have some system knowledge with. And because you can steal the material and just change it to your system. I have a whole bunch of Robotech to Hero games to Hero System stuff. The guys on the Hero forums thought it was good enough. One of the guys put it on the website. People were using that shit. It was awesome. Xander Voice is surprised that I never tried to play a Power Ranger Super Sentai Kamen Rider player. When we used to play Marvel Superheroes, we'd play games, and one of the guys would just play a Power Ranger as a superhero. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. Go. Someone else who remain unnoted often plays a superhero from popular media with the serial numbers filed off poorly.
Is it Banyan?
Yes. Bowie often plays Spider-Man. Bowie has played a version of Spider-Man in multiple of my superhero campaigns. There's nothing wrong with that. If you enjoy it, it's all good. That's sort of the point is, if you like it, if you love Sturm Brightblade, make a nightly order like the Knights of Solamnia and run a Sturm Brightblade. I hope you end better than he did, but you can totally do that. People like to diss people for borrowing stuff like that, but just do it. It's about having fun. It'll turn into something more than that. It'll be awesome. It'll eventually become your own character.
Yes.
But much thing with stealing your material. You know, there's a bunch of books out there. Yeah, Huntsman. So Huntsman was his version of Martian Manhunter. That was actually a pretty cool character. Very funny things happen with that. But it's also why I like used role-playing books, because they're never sealed. So if they're not sealed, means you can open up and look. Maybe you like the maps. Maybe you like the stuff. Just use it. I used to take any superheroes and supervillains I could find from any system, and I would make them in champions. So that I had basically limitless supply of villains. Sometimes you just change the names. Sometimes you don't even change the names. Sometimes you realize these people don't read the comics you read. They don't fucking know who that is. I mean, my parties have faced in the course of a session villains from Marvel, DC, all over the place in the course of a couple sessions, wherever I steal them from, and that's fine. If you like Lord Soth, he's a great villain. Steal him. File the numbers off. Change his name. All good. Knight of the Black Rose. Fucking scary as shit. Just do it, you know? That's the best, I think the best use of all those game worlds is not necessarily playing in them. It's seeing all the stuff that's super cool and then fucking stealing what you need to.
Yeah. Exporting it, plug and play.
Yep.
I mean, make some adjustments.
I have the Atlas of the Dragonlance world because it's fucking awesome. And I have often felt like just taking bits of it and I'm stealing this or stealing this idea and boom, putting it right in there. Who cares, right? You and your people are having fun. It's not like the fun police are going to show up and say, you're not having fun the right way. If they do, I suggest you ask them to leave nicely. Because the fun police are no fun. Fuck them.
But are you winning at a role-playing game?
Don't start. Really?
Oh.
If you showed up to the table and you're playing and having fun, you're fucking winning at role-playing.
Yeah, I don't understand how.
And yes, the only rule in role-playing is that the rules are whatever the fuck you decide the rules are. If you don't like a rule in the game system, throw it out the fucking window. Just communicate that to your players. You know, example what we're doing now. Banyan's like, oh hey, this storm magic I can use means I get to use auto fire with my blast and keep shooting people again and again and again. And I'm like, that seems broken as fuck. I don't know if it's going to work that way. And then I read it, realized he'd misread it, said, okay, cool, works fine. You can do it. Do all you want. Here's how it actually works. You know, it's all good. Oh, 2022 Fastest Timeline says that the Takayoshi Fushida Redactor was up 2 years ago, so technically we're already in the campaign setting. Awesome. Hey, it is true. I gotta show them my notifications. Yep. In 2027, the Alliance Starship Columbia, powered by the first Kearney future reactor, will mix its historic journey to Mars. You know, that might actually happen by 2027. That's the scary part. But yeah, like, take what you want. It's okay. You know? Use it. If you have role-playing friends at work who aren't in your game, or wherever you hang out, talk with them about the stuff you're going to do. I used to tell some of the guys at work, which is difficult. I had to do it in certain circumstances because the Jason and not Brushhead Dave worked with me. I would tell them things that are about to happen, and he'd be like, that's going to be so awesome. I can't wait to hear about it. Share that, because if you share your ideas, they can poke holes in it and help you make it better. Find a Discord where you can talk about role playing ideas. Make sure it's one that your fucking players aren't in. There's so many Discords that shouldn't actually be hard. But yeah, so I mean, do that and get your stuff. I mean, the whole point of this is, you can find a way to make all that stuff work. On the core of this, if you have a setting you love, let's say you love Dune, talk to the guy, your friend, the one who knows Dune inside and out. We all have one. And go, hey, I want to steal this, or I want to play a role playing game in Dune. I like this aspect. When's the good time to do it? I guarantee you, your friend who knows Dune will have this period. You can do it here or here or here. It'd be great because all this stuff's going on that your characters can interact with, but doesn't affect the final story, so they can feel like they're doing stuff. It just, sometimes doesn't matter. But it matters to them because it matters for thousands of years potentially. You can easily just write your stuff in. So think about that when you're looking at those game systems and all. I feel like I ranted a little bit.
No, that's fine because like when I ran my Star Wars one, I ran it very, very far in the future. That way, you can say y'all are not anywhere near any of the old characters.
Well, here's the thing: the best time to run Star Wars is the time of the Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. Almost all the familiar things are there, but all the big stuff has happened. At the time it stands, no other big thing happens for another 15 years. It's a big universe, so stuff can happen in that. And hell, if you don't like I know it's not necessarily popular. If you don't like the way the stuff that happens after the timeline you're running, just hand wave it. Who cares? It's your story now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you're going to write fan fiction, share it, or maybe you will write fan fiction and share it, and people will be like, well, that doesn't take place here. Well, it takes place here. Okay, cool. They'll like it or they won't, just like with everything. Who cares? Don't worry about what they think about your stuff. We're not here for everyone else's approval. The only people's approval you need are those people at the table who are having a fucking great time. If they're having a fucking great time, you just won. Congratulations.
Yes, you won at role playing.
Yep. Because you got everyone together and you had fun. That's how you do it.
I honestly don't think there's any other way.
No. I'm not going to watch 15 more videos to find out either. Do you guys want to add anything? I rambled on for a while.
Well, I was just because when I looked at the Dune book, and that's what kind of brought all this up. I was like, oh, Dune, that's a really cool system. I don't think I want to run anything in it because I figured it would be, and I didn't get the book. And the book may say, hey, you really should play it during this time if you don't want to affect X, Y, Z type thing. So
that's a good thing for a book to do.
Yeah. It's like, this is a great time frame to run characters that it won't affect because not everybody is Paul Muad'Dib.
I would say only Paul Muad'Dib is Paul Muad'Dib.
Yeah.
True.
By definition.
Nobody's going to be role-playing Paul Muad'Dib. I guess they could.
You could.
Yeah.
I don't know what the challenge would be at a certain point. It'd be more of a political intrigue game at that point, and honestly, for political intrigue, that's a whole different beast. Play the other killing word. Lotam is the other killing word, not Taco Bell. But yeah, it should not stop you from buying those books if you like the source material. Just get ready to file the serial numbers off and do it. Even start small with that stuff. Like, you don't have to go all in. Like, people talk about having to build your own world. You don't have to build that much to start players. I think the best idea I had of that was the 4th edition D&D setting, where you start off as adventurers who are going to go fight the Keep at Shadowfell, which is the name of the first adventure. And then just sort of organically builds from there into a bigger and bigger world. They have some maps in there. It's not really important. You're not doing political intrigue. You have your own plot line you're following. And the one young lady I was watching actually said that she tried to imitate what Critical Role was doing and realized she doesn't like political intrigue like they like political intrigue.
Yeah.
And you have to know that. You have to know what you like and what you want to do. And you know, world building can just be a bunch of notes you make. You can just steal parts from everything. Like nowadays with the map making stuff Gonzo's using online, you can easily imitate a map you see in a book or something, change little details to make it fit, and then add it to other maps you see in books. Just take a look and add it up. It's all good. At the end of the day, you bought the book. It's not like you're not stealing. You're using the content. You bought the book to use the content. That is the intent of the book, to give you the content to use in your games. And it doesn't. That they don't care how you're using it. There's this weird sense everyone got, I think, from all these people who are making a good name, making good for themselves. Not everyone's going to do that. You're not going to necessarily turn your role-playing game into a $1 million franchise or anything. That's not going to happen. If it does, then you're going to spend a lot of time filing serial numbers off very well. But don't expect to. Don't worry about that. Just worry about making a game that's fun. I steal parts from all over for my game system. Whatever I like just gets in there. I like that. Get in the bag. That's what it is. More with any of them, I was thinking like it actually doesn't matter what particular genre you're using. Horror, you're taking whatever you want. Science fiction, you're fucking taking whatever you want. You want lightsabers and psychic powers? Sure, sounds good. You want to add in different stuff from different. You want giant mecha using lightsabers? Fuck, you can steal that too. It's called Gundam. You don't want them that big? You can steal BattleTech mechs. Give them lightsabers. Do what you want.
Seems like you can do anything in superhero games too.
Yep. Superheroes a meta genre like sci-fi. You can run subgenres. Just find out what it is. Like you watch old stuff. Get those cartoons you grew up with. Do you want to play a sci-fi game that's the Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers, i.e. sci-fi western, aka probably kind of like Firefly? Do it. Just steal some images off the internet, steal some ideas, go. I actually really like the Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers. It's one of my favorites. It's all good. Get those source materials. Check out what's out there. Look at some of the more fluid game systems. Look at the GURPS, the Hero Systems, the Genesis, the generic ones. You can do more with them, but don't discount the more well-defined ones. Because filing serial numbers off, you can do a lot with them. I ran a D&D game where one of the guys wanted to invent guns, so he invented guns. They just had the stats just like crossbows and shit. Tweak a number here, tweak a number there, still good. Still perfectly balanced. Just think outside the box. It's almost time for the media section.
It is.
I don't know if Gonzo's got a color in that brush or not. It sure looks white to me.
It's a yellow.
If you say so.
It really does. I was wondering about that. Is he touching up the white? Is he going to make green over it? I don't know.
It really looks... I mean, I guess I get a hint, but it's hard to tell because that green's bleeding pretty hard. It's not...
Nope, it's yellow. I'm going for a blonde head on this guy, so I'm gonna...
What's that, Banian? No one makes white ink? Is that what they said to you at the game store? Spoiler, that's what they said to him at the game store.
Wait, what?
You went to the game store and you asked for white ink, and they said no one makes that.
Lies.
That's why I get it on Amazon, Banian, not the game store.
Oh, yeah, they don't sell it at the game store.
Art store, maybe.
I mean, I wouldn't say no one makes that. That seems pretty broad and also wrong.
But apparently they're not...
Not true.
Yeah, they're not worried about that. Anyways, media.
Got pretty decently far on that.
Want to know what Godfall is? Read the blurb here.
Oh, did I have that still going on? Yep.
Yeah. I don't know what Godfall is.
That's my RPG.
Oh, and if anyone's going to redeem for cat ears, do it now.
While he's not looking?
Well, he's got a minute or two left. There you go.
All right, for the end of the show. Switch over. Do-do-do.
Well, I know because these are not the most comfortable, but I got him to a new comfortable position, so. Thanks, Mania. Aren't you?
Just there to help you along. So we have the Book of Boba Fett to go through, non-spoiler version. Kathy, you got yours. I've got like 3 or 4 things. I haven't checked what I wrote down yet.
I have one thing.
You have one thing?
But I have decided that this week I will watch Book of Boba Fett.
Okay.
Well, it's funny because this week's the last episode.
So you can binge the entire series
Perfect.
on Wednesday.
Yep.
I will not be binging the entire series on Wednesday because I have other things I need to do.
What?
I know.
I don't binge anything,
So
I got like 3 things, but I share one with you and one with Kathy.
well, I
Yeah.
did. So I watched the newest episodes of Vox Machina.
I have not.
It gets further away from the teenage boy penis jokes.
Okay.
It
Good.
gets a little bit more serious, and
Yeah, there were a lot. There's
not
a
like
lot of,
serious enough that
hate
it's
on the internet.
yeah.
There's a lot of people like, I'm not watching this shit, and I'm like, guys, watch episode 2. I was felt the same way, but
Yeah.
at the end of episode 1 and episode 2, it'll change your mind, or at that point, eject then. But we'll see if they listen or not.
It did change up. I mean, it still has some joking in there and stuff like that, but that's understandable. It's not an entire episode of dick jokes or sex jokes like episode 1 was. It was okay. Wait to see what everything else goes through, and I'll give a final rating. But so far it's not been bad. But other than that, and I did start back Raised by Wolves. Came back on HBO Max, season 2, and only got like 2 episodes in. So far it's been pretty good. So no big deal. Why don't you and Kathy go, because y'all have this one that's pretty big.
I'll
I
let
don't know
Kathy
how
lead.
big it is, but John sent me a copy of Death to Smoochie, which I had never seen, and I had actually forgot existed.
A lot of people do.
And I also completely forgot that Robin Williams was even in it.
They let Robin Williams loose wild on this one.
So, yeah.
Directed by
So-
Danny DeVito.
Yeah. I put it in, I started watching it, and all I could think was, what? What? What am I watching?
That was Banion's reaction as well.
What is happening? That was Banion's reaction too.
Yes.
And there were a lot of parts in this movie where I was saying that to myself.
Yes. Full disclosure, this movie is ridiculous.
It's very ridiculous.
The whole idea is that the current reigning kid show host of Doom gets caught by the FBI in a scandal and thus gets fired and all. They need to replace him with someone squeaky clean. Enter Edward Norton's character, Smoochie the Rhino, Sheldon Mopes, who is like absolutely super squeaky clean and exactly what they need. And he gets into the kid show host business to find it is not what he thought it was. It's really a trip. He has to deal with the Parade of Hope, which is, for the kids organization that apparently is crooked as the fucking mob. He has to deal with the Irish mob.
Hey,
Hey,
Sarge.
Sarge,
does.
thank you for the
Ah.
bits.
He
And
has
they're
to.
and they're shamrocks.
Yeah, they're shamrocks. Yeah. That does not give the mob that way. The Irish mob in that movie is fucking great.
I love that actress, and I remember seeing her in a bunch of different British TV series.
I feel like everyone in this movie like just fucking delivers. Like they all play the part really well. You believe the interaction between the male and female leads, between Edward Norton and the female lead,
Nora.
Nora, yes, and they let Robin Williams just go nuts with that. It is not kid friendly. Let's just say that now. It is not kid
It
friendly.
absolutely is not. And when I was listening to the Rainbow Randall, the theme
Rainbow
song
Randall.
at the beginning,
Oh yeah,
I could think was,
yep.
oh my God, the
Some like
double
the pitch, some like the
entendre.
catch. Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I'm
Yep.
like, and that was when I was like, what am I watching? That might have been my first one.
So I love the movie. It is absolutely hilarious and enjoyable. It definitely builds steam as it goes on. I'd forgotten the beginning part, but once they introduce Smoochie and all, it just starts rolling. It's just hilarious. Danny DeVito character comes as an agent, and it's hilarious. It's also hilarious because everyone deals with. I've had cat ears the whole time.
John has the light up cat ears, and Gonzo also has cat ears.
His aren't as
But-
cool though.
They do not light up.
But yeah, so like it's funny everyone deals with him like he's just one of the normal hosts, but then they realize quickly he's not. He's actually absolutely Captain America squeaky clean.
Yes,
And-
that's just his lifestyle.
It's just super funny. It is worth watching, the very least for Robin Williams' performance through it, as it gets more and more deranged,
He's so
Um,
creepy.
but positive at the end. I like that too.
That's the thing. That the whole ending of it, I like how they wrap things
Oh, yeah.
up. But there are parts of it throughout the movie where I'm thinking to myself, what is this? And why am I watching? Why am I still watching this? I feel like I have to see what happens now, but there's this little stretch that I have to get through.
Yeah.
So there are parts of the movie where,
There are parts of the humor doesn't hit as well as you want.
Yeah.
And some of that doesn't hit as well as you want today.
it gets
Framing him by having him go to a Nazi rally is surreal and not exactly something they do in a movie nowadays.
that was a bit horrifying. And then at the end when they have the his basically his little opera that describes his entire experience, and
I
they
thought
have
that was fucking great.
all those banners come down. I'm like, why? What?
At a point, it is sort of surreal. It is. I enjoy the crap out of it. It is not a perfect movie. The humor doesn't always necessarily hit and won't hit for everyone. But if you can stream it, do so. It's not for streaming anywhere, I don't think. This is why I sent Kathy a copy on Amazon.
I love
Amazon.
that actor who plays, and I don't remember his name, the one who plays the former actor who's an addict.
He was
I
in
can't-
Buckaroo Banzai also.
Yeah, he's in a ton of different things.
Yeah, 1 second here.
I mean, he just has that amazingly recognizable face.
Yes, but not an amazing recognizable name because he's never had a big. Vincent Schiavelli as Buggy Ding Dong.
Buggy Ding Dong. I wonder I can remember that.
He's been in so many things. Like, he has 160 acting credits all over the place. But at the end of the day, if you can watch it, watch it. It is funny. It is rated R. It should be. Because it's got a lot of adult content. But it is very surreal and funny. I think a fair rating, even though I love it, is 2 space herpes. Because it is... the jokes don't always hit. It is a little extra surreal at points.
I was
What do
gonna
you
go 3.
Oh, 3. Wow.
This is one, yeah, this is one where we differ a little bit. Like, I liked it, but I don't know if I'll watch it again.
Oh, this is a common one in my career. We love this movie. So Gonzo wandered off, Kathy. So I guess you get to talk about French murder mysteries.
Oh, okay. So I've been watching Murder In, which is a French series. All the episodes are about an hour and a half long. But so I don't know what I can say. I think I talked about them last week.
Fair enough.
They're each mystery takes place in a different region in France. So you get to see all of these different areas, and the different little cultural differences that set them apart from other regions. And some of them have this, these small villages, like in Brittany, have these little insular communities. And, versus, what was the one today? It was in Aix-en-Provence in the mountains, and the scenery was amazing, and the cast was amazing, and this one lady plays this batshit crazy woman in a few of the episodes. I'm beginning to see that it's like in the UK where they use the same actors for a lot of different things. You keep seeing them in everything. So you see these actors in a lot of different episodes, and this woman was the actual murderer in one of them. In this one, she's just this crazy mom. But they're a lot of fun. If you like to watch international TV and you have some place where you can see Murder In, I don't remember what the French name is because I watch it with subtitles because I'm not a genius.
I watch everything with subtitles. Even English stuff. It helps. But they sound enjoyable if you like murder mysteries.
If you like murder mysteries.
I mean, there are other things if you like murder. Gonzo, what you got?
I started Ted Lasso, which is on Apple TV.
Okay.
Everybody said it's been pretty good. And it's not bad. I'm still not through the second season. I started it up. It's different. An American coming to teach, British football is a little different. But so far it's been okay. I'm okay with it. I'll give a final review after I finish watching it completely. But I'm just waiting to see how that's going to go. I'm entertained. It's got some good funny parts. It's entertaining to say the least. It did win a bunch of awards for everybody,
Yeah, it's got some
stuff.
good buzz about it. I'm just not buying Apple TV.
Yeah, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But I've enjoyed it so far, and it's been pretty decent. So I'll give a final review later. I'm like in the middle of everything. I haven't watched a full movie, so everything's like been TV shows this last week and a half or so.
Speaking of giving a final review when we're done, Bainey and I have started watching Jack Reacher, which should not be a surprise to anyone. Because I have read many of the Jack Reacher books. I loved the movie, even though people bitched about Tom Cruise. It's okay. He actually has the attitude of Jack Reacher down. He's just not 6'5". But in a movie, it's easier to stage everyone so he doesn't look super short. But this, they've got, I don't know the actor's name, but he is basically 6'5", and he is intimidating. He isn't quite of the skiing presence of Tom Cruise, but it looks like he's getting better as we watch it. I love the hell out of it so far. It is following the first book, Killing Floor, pretty closely, but updating it to more modern times. Because the books were released in 97, and that was 25 years ago. You're welcome. Quarter of a century, also welcome. But we definitely like the crap out of it. Jack Reacher is played pretty true to Jack Reacher. All the characters as I remember them, which is not a lot because I've read these books years ago, especially the first one. Like the heck out of it. I hope it gets picked up for a second season. It probably will. It's already doing well apparently. But like Traffic, I recommend it to anyone who liked the movie or likes that kind of series. It is sort of a combination of action and murder mystery. And Jack Reacher is a fucking force of nature, and basically he can bull his way through most things, but he's that kind of protagonist. Again, rating when we get done with it, but we're about 3 episodes in out of, I want to say 7 or 8, so shouldn't be too long. They're about an hour long, so not quite a full hour, like between 57 and I think the shorter one was like 45, 47-ish, so in that area, which is just long enough. They don't feel like they overstay their welcome, but feel like they do enough that you can be satisfied to go do something else, but they still leave you one to come back more when you get the time.
And where are they streaming?
Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Gonzo?
Let's go with Boba Fett.
Boba Fett. I don't want to call it the Book of Boba Fett. That Star Wars series is very cool Star Wars content.
Which is interesting because people gave up on it quite early because
People are
they were
stupid.
expecting.
Remember, no one hates Star Wars like Star Wars fans.
Correct.
It's they don't understand their expectations are holding them back from liking things. They're not willing to give it a chance. I mean, I knew that as soon as I saw the responses to the sequel trilogy come out. I'm like, oh yeah, these people don't. They have their idea of what it is, which is fair, built up through years of Legends material, books, and everything. You know, I had a buddy say, hey, Boba Fett should be murdering people and disintegrating people. I'm like, no, that's what you think he should be doing. Not even the facts and what we know of him should say that he should be doing that. And they're not willing to give it a chance, which is fine. They don't have to go. They can fuck right off. I'm enjoying it. I do wish there was a little more Boba Fett in the series named after him. It's basically in the last 2 episodes. This is a minor spoiler, but it won't surprise you. He's fucking plays a cameo part. That's it.
Yep.
Fennec Shand has more speaking lines than Boba Fett in the past 2 episodes, and it's not close.
Huh.
But they are enjoyable. It's very good Star Wars content, and I wish they would just have a generic Star Wars series and just do whatever the fuck they want with it. It'd be easier than trying to shoehorn it into something like this, but because it's not pertinent. Like, I'm sorry, it's really not pertinent to what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really, really good episode. Let's not forget that. It was
Yeah.
a great episode.
Okay, no, it was a very good episode. I have to knock it back because it is named The Book of Boba Fett.
Correct. But I enjoyed the hell out of this episode.
I did, but also you enjoy some of the callbacks that you're going to see and some of the characters introduced more than I will.
Yes.
That being
But-
said, the character introduced was very menacing and very cool.
Yes.
I was very impressed with what they did with him. No spoilers. Uh-oh. Daniel, I am Rebel Scum. That's my brand.
I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was really good. Can't wait to see what they're going to do in the next episode because this is the final of the
Yep.
season. So we'll have to see what's going on because there seems like there's more to tell, in my opinion. A lot
Yeah.
more to tell.
Don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with it. We'll see. I will say the 5th episode was very good. But I hesitate off of great because, again, the Boba Fett thing and the cliche police would like to pull over this series and tell them to slow down a little bit. A little too many cliches going on. And a little too much fan service. They need to throttle it back. It's like they're just more and more and more. Slow down. It's okay.
These last 2 episodes are very fan service and callback. Very much.
Yeah. And I like them. They're just out of place and it's doing too much. So, again, overall it'll affect the series a little bit, but we'll see how the last episode does and we'll give it an actual full rating.
I did finish a series. Finally finished it. I started it, and you told me about it, and I started watching it, and then things came up, and I went back to it and watched it. And I watched Hit Monkey. Hit Monkey is a Marvel comic book that got put out on Hulu as a cartoon. Um, it took a little bit for me to get into it. The animation is very, I wouldn't say off-putting, but it's kind of like you're like, okay, because it seems like it's filmed at a slower frame rate, if is the best way to put it. Kind of stuttery type animation.
That's a cost saving trick. They don't have to animate as much if they make it like that, and that's fine. I have no problem with it. It becomes
Yeah.
a style at that point.
Yeah, it was just a little bit off putting at first, but you get used to it. But I've never heard of Hitmonkey from Marvel. Never saw the comics. Nothing. It's totally off my radar. I enjoyed it. The camaraderie between Hitmonkey and the Ghost and stuff is really, really good. It's a good. A lot of people have said it does remind of Archer because, especially the animation style. But I mean, it had a really good story. It had some pretty good comedy in between it. Some pretty oh shit moments. There is some actual Marvel characters that do make an appearance in it, which is known Marvel characters. So it's not just out there in the wind. I had a good time with it. It wasn't bad. I give it like a 1.5, maybe pushing a 2 type thing, because at the beginning it was just kind of weird.
Okay.
So, but I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, if you have Hulu and you like cartoons and pretty bloody, violent cartoons,
And monkeys.
Hitmonkey is it. And monkeys.
I mean, I don't have Hulu, so I'm not gonna watch it. But
It was pretty decent. I enjoyed it. It wasn't bad at all.
good to hear, because it's starting to get enough stuff on Hulu. I might consider getting it for a couple months, watching some stuff, and then ejecting.
Ejecting. Get the 30-day free trial.
There's too much. There's too many out there. I can't pay for all of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's just too many.
Yeah.
There is. That's the reason why we share it around.
Yes. Well, speaking of one that not everyone has, we didn't watch anything on it yet, but obviously Picard season 2 is coming out soon. But also, the Halo series had their trailer drop, and it's
Yep.
looking pretty good.
You know what's funny is a lot of people compared it to Mandalorian. They were like, I get a Mandalorian vibe off of this. And I'm like, okay, but I mean...
In what way? Because I
Uh,
didn't get any of that. It's a guy in armor, yes, but fucking...
Yeah.
We can go all the way back to Snake Eyes, the 80s, the man
Yeah.
in masks and armor, that kind of thing has been around for forever. Boba
Yeah.
Fett and that person. I mean, let's be honest, it's not like it's new. Starship Troopers predates all that shit pretty hard.
Some people were
it
just
looked-
saying that. And I was
Yeah,
like, I can get how you can get that vibe, but...
That's a good vibe to have, though. They should put you excited for it. I mean, getting upset that saying, well, Halo gives me a Mandalorian vibe is like saying, I don't want to watch this movie, John Carter, because it looks like they stole from all the other media. Well, one of these was first, and one of these was not.
Yeah.
One of these was originally written in 1912.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, but no, so that's cool. I mean, I like what it sees. I'm going to watch it. I like, much more than I was ever good at playing the game, I like the Halo story. They've done a solid job with it. For it's ostensibly a first-person shooter, they did a fuck of a job with it for story.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was. I'm looking forward to it. They kind of don't hold back in this, so I mean, it looks pretty good. Looks like it's going to be good enough and violent.
I mean, a little
And-
cliche police problem with the trailer, but that might just be a minor thing that happens. We'll see.
Yeah.
He's a weapon. He's out of control. Like, for fuck's sake. It's Master Chief. You're not going to stop him.
Yeah.
It's not possible.
So we'll have to see. I'm looking forward to it, and it's going to be coming
Yeah.
around pretty soon.
It's going to be on Paramount Plus. I don't remember the name of it.
Yep.
Which Bainey and I do have, so we'll watch that, even though we still have to watch a season and 3/4 of Discovery, 2 seasons of Lower Deck. I just don't have time for all of this.
Just don't sleep.
I need sleep. I'm old. And work is challenging. Sleepy John. John with no sleep is Cranky John, and no one likes Cranky John.
But I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. It looks like it's going to be, it looks like they're going to expand more, and I think they're going to grow the universe more out of this
Good.
type thing, which I'm okay with. I like that. Like I said, Star Wars is cool, but when you give me more of the world of Star Wars, I'm even happier.
Oh yeah.
And that's what it reminds me of.
Okay, well, we can cover that next week when we do the spoiler review of Book of Boba Fett with Kathy.
Because that was fun enough within itself. So I'm always happy to learn more about the world of everything in it. So let's see. I don't have anything else. Kathy, did you go through all of yours while I was gone for a second?
My one thing, yes.
Okay.
I covered mine because I spent my time watching Jack Reacher and Book of Boba Fett and Zeta Smoochie.
Yeah.
And streaming MechWarrior Online 3 days a week.
And I did
Xander just mentions John Carter of Mars was a hard read without reminding himself of when it was written. I read the first 4 books of the John Carter of the Barzoom series on my stream out loud. And yeah, they are dated. So very dated. And then there's people that come in and they're making comments. They're like, what is this guy is just such a giant douchebag. And I'm like, this was written in 1912, 1914.
Were men.
When people had very different ideas about society. However, when you look at it and what this author, Edgar Rice Burroughs, is trying to do, it's really to say that all these people who are so very different should all be able to live in harmony on this planet together.
Yeah.
You know, it was his way of trying to, say that out loud in a time where people didn't really say that.
Daniel says, like Dune? Dune is, I've started Dune a couple times. It's a little bit of a hard read. But honestly, there's multiple kinds of hard read. There's hard read because of the time it came out. Dune, Lord of the Rings, John Carter. And there's hard reads because just the content isn't as good as it used to be. Something like Sahara. Clive Cussler, where I tried to watch it a couple of years ago. And it's like, this is just not very good anymore.
I never read any Clive Cussler. My dad liked it. But
it's one of those things. I'm sure there are books that are just a sign of your times. If you read them, you love them because you have that nostalgia for them. I had no nostalgia for it. I got it cheap in the local used bookstore, and I gave it a chance, and I got a third of the way through, and I'm like, I just don't fucking care. These characters aren't growing on me. I got better things to read.
And you never know. It could be that at that point in your life, something about that story, something about the characters in it speak to you. Like,
yep.
Was it you I was telling about reading This Perfect World by Ira Levin? Anyways, it had to have been written in the late 60s. And I read it when I was a teenager, and I really liked it. And I read it again a few years ago, many years after being a teenager. And I'm like, wow, the main character's really an asshole. Why did I even like this book? I mean, there are some interesting ideas in it. But it's very sort of influenced heavily by Brave New World. And it was in that vein.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's tough. Some books you're like that. You read them and you're like, this was great. And then you read it later, you're like, this is not so great. Not so much anymore.
Very dated.
Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, but also, like, those affect what you love, what you read first, You always have that, everyone has their first fantasy series that is their big thing. A lot of people, it was Lord of the Rings. Mine, while I read The Hobbit, it didn't hit me as hard as Dragonlance did. So
Somebody has, just to interrupt.
Yes, Mr. Cabell has a question. Painting New Army, Wet Blood Angels, trying to use the contrast paint. Is it possible to use that for a shade, as you do not have Carberg Crimson or any other red clears, sadly? Well, if you're painting the base coat with Captain is right. Maybe layers. If you're using a white base coat, you could layer it on. If you do that, I would thin it down a tiny bit for the subsequent, because it'll build in the recesses more than it'll build in the flats on the flat surface. Or if you paint it another red, a lighter red, like a Blood Angels red first, and then use over it, you can water it down and it'll act like a shade or a wash.
Is plain contrast as being kind of cheap and crappy? Or
Crap and
kinda
blotchy?
Crap and blotchy?
It can be, especially with something like a red. Red's one of those ones where I would only use the contrast as an add-on to an already existing red paint. Kathy will have much more.
I don't have any contrast paint though, and I know it acts differently than a lot of the stuff that I'm used to.
So yes, Mr. Crabble, base Evil Sun's red, and then water it down a little bit. You can wash the blenders over it. Absolutely, that would work better because you'll have an even coat, and then by watering it down a little bit, you'll only hit the recesses, making it, as I like to call it, an uber wash. It's a little more intense than a normal wash, but if you water it down, you should get a good look from it. It'll just take a little time to get the right amount of water. Yeah, Steve Sanders, like he said, a book series called the Jereg series by Stephen Burst really hit me in the high school, made me really enjoy detective fantasy style. Absolutely. We all have those series to read. I read, lots of my stuff. High school was Dragonlance, a little bit of Forgotten Realms, and then all of the Robotech books. There was a point it was okay I didn't have the Robotech DVDs because I could read the books faster than I could watch the episodes. But those are really good if you ever get them. Jack McKinney, which is actually two people, wrote all the novelizations, and they really flesh things out and add stuff. But did anyone use Tamiya Killer Red?
No, but I've used the contrast red, and it can get splotchy if you don't thin it around and put it around correctly. So you have to be careful with it.
Hail hydrate.
Hail hydrate.
Hydrate.
Just drink a glass of water.
Thank you, Miska Blood.
Cheers.
So.
But yeah, so just try get a test model. Only try part, like do an arm, then do the wash, do the arm, do the wash in a different way. So that way you get more use out of the single model. Remember the direct VHS Space Knight Tekkaman? I think I saw that on Cartoon Network, actually. It was interesting. Anyways, we're getting kind of long. We could go forever.
It is time. Guys, we appreciate you watching the podcast and listening to it wherever you're at. It is time for us to go. We are going to send you off and let you listen to Vlieger Dragon as they play their tabletop RPG. Don't forget to check out John playing his MechWarrior times. John, what's your times?
Monday, 8 to 10. Thursday, 8 to 10. And Sunday morning, not 8 to 10, sorry, 9 to 11. I don't want to be up and playing at 8 a.m. Sorry.
I will be doing Building Up on Godfall on Wednesday nights. Those are going to be my nights that I'm going to be doing it because a lot of people requested it. To hang out and we can discuss the world and everything that goes with it and continue to build the map. I just downloaded a bunch of new things for it. Some new designs. So.
Yep. Oh, don't worry, Captain Mizzy. I saw that.
Yeah, we all saw it. And then, Kathy, what are you going to be streaming on your channel?
You can find me on Kathy Wapple. That's where I'm streaming these days. And I do my miniature painting Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday during the week, starting at 3 p.m. Central. And then on Fridays, I do a reading stream. Which is why I was reading the John Carter of Mars books out loud on my stream. That's every Friday.
Or you can build up 10,000 channel points and have her read something in entirety. Formerly, it was Rikki Tikki Tavi.
It's Rikki Tikki Tavi. That's the...
Oh, still is? Okay.
That is, yes.
I heard you might change it up. I heard some requests in your chat for that.
Maybe. Don't know. It's a new thing. I'm just trying it.
Fair enough.
So, guys, we appreciate it. Please be safe out there. Please wear your mask. Please get your shots and your boosters. We want to see everybody in a few, 2 months, technically? at HeadCon 2022, aka Adepticon. For More Than Dice, I'm Gonzo.
I'm John.
I'm Kathy. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Go
We're going to be
sit
sending you off to Leaguer Dragon, so stick around and wave hi to her.
Sure, they're on break.
I'm sure.